Well, it's me, Jacob Van Stratton, here again, and I gotta tell ya. Basically, the long and the short of it is that people will force you to sign blank statements. They'll use audio and anticipate your thoughts as they anticipate reactions to shit that they say to make you respond appropriately in the way that they want to set you up to appear. They use antagonizing crap to make you repeat yourself and be argumentative with them, and you say the same things over and over again, and they anticipate the things that you say, and they get that on audio, so that way they can falsify with audio some sort of a confession or recording. They also will force you to sign blank statements after they drug you and hypnotize you and make you do whatever the fuck they want. Then they'll take them statements. These are anybody and everybody. They could take these statements, then they try to sell them to various people that could turn them in. Sheriff's Department deputies, Sheriff's Department investigators, detectives, police department, federal investigators, anybody and everybody that they could possibly sell them to. People even talk about selling them to the army and stuff like that. All I could say is that I snitched on all of them. And they can't sell a damn thing. But they don't just do that. They also try and steal genetic materials to falsify crimes with stolen genetic materials. I.e., they'll whack you off for a sperm sample using a dry condom. They'll take that and use that on other things. They'll render you unconscious first. Might give you a nice dream for it, depending on the technology being used. The feds tend to use a neurokinetic transceiver. They also hire out gang members to perform these black bag ops where they get ruthless and murder people. Cops do the same thing, as do sheriff deputies. The cops took it a little too far when they killed my 4 grandparents, altered test results to try and make it look like natural causes. They're not out for justice. They're out for the financial reward involved that they could get from you by falsifying crimes about you. They falsify the appearance of guilt by rolling you around in fiberglass dust, making your body absorb it with acids that they leach from you magnetically. Once they leach those acids into your body and it's running through your veins, make you sweat it out, then they make you absorb it back in by dehydrating the crap out of you. So you're all dehydrated and your skin's dehydrated and it absorbs these acids and it gets back into your bloodstream if they don't just feed it to you. They'll put fiberglass in foods. They'll also put fiberglass dust in water. They put metal in water. They put sodium in water to try and mask the pain of them cutting open your abdomen as they shove feces up in your skull. They'll do that just to slow down your brain, to bring it to their level, which is very small. They want to slow down your brain so that way they can use repetitive phrases while they heat up your skull. And what they do when they heat up your skull is they badger you and antagonize you with the same phrase that they want you to have the appearance of. And what that does is when you start repeating it back as they antagonize you and irritate you, is you're teaching their neurokinetic transceiver how to, at the push of a button, say a phrase. And it just doesn't show them how to say it verbally when they control your vocal cords. It shows them how to make you think it at the push of a button. It can also be through just suggestion from hypnotism. You don't even need the neurokinetic transceiver for this. Suggestion from audio after being hypnotized, etc. So then they'll sit there and they'll just suggest and suggest. But to you, it's not a suggestion, it's a harassment. It's an annoyance. It's constant harassment. It's terrifyingly, psychotronically, it's torture. It's psychotronic torture. As they sit there and torture you and manipulate you to walk around town, anybody, if you do have a neurokinetic transceiver in, that can receive the signal, hears this. As they hear this, they think you're fucked up. It gets other people to believe that you have the appearance of guilt. They falsify things in dream states too. I'll be dreaming and they falsify me doing things. They falsify the exact surroundings that I'm in. And they quite literally will falsify me doing things that I'm not doing. They did it in Colorado. They did it for years. They've been doing this shit for years. But they also use when your mind's at rest, and if you do have a neurokinetic transceiver in your skull, they also use thoughts control. And when your mind's at rest and you're sleeping, it's very easy for them to take over your mind and make you respond the way they want you to. They can use audio that you've said out loud and replay that through your mind to people around you in your dream state to give you the appearance of guilt, to falsify that. Once they have the falsification, whether it's somebody beat you in the face to make you say things that they wanted to hear to set you up like they did to me, or whether they torture you in dream states to say whatever they want, or whether, like they did to me, or whether you're raped and molested like they did to me, and shit was falsified like they did to me to turn me into a cash machine. Once they do that, they have you by the balls. The only thing that you can do is snitch on every single one of them. Tell as many people as you can. Tell all your friends, tell all your family, tell people that you don't know, random people on the street. See if you can get a crowd telling them what people do. There's nothing wrong with demonstrating. But stay away from the mental institution, because the minute you go to a mental institution, you're discredited. They'll use fear and intimidation tactics to try and manipulate you to stay home, where they'll constantly badger you and harass you. They look for any safe place to do it, where they can tell people about it, so that way they can go, it's in your head, you should get help. Because that's what they want. They want to manipulate you there for discreditation so they can set you up and bear false witness against you and turn in falsified statements to whoever they could sell them to get their kickback. Might not be much, it might be a lot, depending on where they sell them to, who they sell them to, and how they sell them to. But consider these pieces of shit just want money. There is no justice in it, especially when they kill my 70 and 80-year-old grandparents. I mean, cops do it, sheriff deputies do it, investigators do it, FBI does it. FBI hires out goons to do it, and gangs do it. Run-of-the-mill, average, everyday people do it, and they turn it into a financial machine, trying to shake your tree to get all the money that they can out of it. And it costs you your life. My advice to you is, if they start in on you and you feel your feet vibrating or ultra-low frequency emitters or something like that, my advice to you is, if you haven't been to a mental institution, or you don't have a soft spot on your head that should have been strong a lot of years back because you're all grown up now, then either you have a neurokinetic transceiver, or there's somebody in the immediate vicinity that's manipulating your brain to be on the same frequency, but also initiates paranoid states with repetitive harassment, accusation talk to try and make you afraid. My advice is, if you're in an apartment complex, move. Rent a house. Live out in the boonies. And be sure that you shoot whoever comes on your property. And if you can't stand it, and it gets to you, make an example of them before they discredit you. Reporting it to the police doesn't really do much. You need to take matters into your own hands, go next door, and blow their fucking brains out. You heard it here. I'm Jacob Van Straten, targeted individual.